Hey guys, Brody Lineweber here, Lineweber Insurance. I'm going to try to keep this presentation as concise as possible. Thank you for tuning in. What we're going to be discussing here today is home insurance here in the state of Colorado and the wind hail deductibles that you can expect for the later part of 2024 and 2025. Long story short, every policy here in the state of Colorado will have a substantially higher wind hail deductible than we're normally accustomed to. So I'm going to jump right in here too. What are the causes? Hyperinflation and continued hail. If you watched my previous video, I touched on these a lot and I encourage you to do so. But these are the two main causes. And so hyperinflation here, this is a graph here in Colorado, and I included the link at the bottom of the presentation of where I obtained this link regarding the cost of goods here in Colorado and how they have been on the constant increase since 2020 and have dipped back down in 2022. But the cost of replacing a roof has actually outpaced this chart here. And so it's important to note of that. And then the continued hail. Some of you have seen this chart before. This is a list of all hail events here in Colorado over the last 20 or so years, with 2023 being a record high for hail reports here in the state of Colorado. And 2024 doesn't look to be much of an exception. We've had a fair amount of hail this year as well. And so if you haven't, please like our Facebook page, like our LinkedIn page, or you can also follow subscribe on our YouTube channel. I've included the links here. The way you can find us on Facebook or LinkedIn is just search Lineweber Insurance Agency, and I would encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All that you need to do is search my name on that channel, and you'll find us. And so getting into the meat here. Carriers are losing money hand over fist on home insurance. They haven't been profitable in many years in home insurance, and it's actually forcing them to take some action. Colorado's cost to replace a roof is substantially, if not the highest in the nation to get replaced. We have very expensive roofs here, mostly due to the amount of roofs getting replaced here. Most Colorado roofs have been replaced within the last 2 years, and it's not uncommon that somebody's getting their roof replaced every 5 years. So I wanted to illustrate an example for you on how it is that carriers are losing so much money on home insurance. Let's say that you're paying $3,000 a year for your home insurance policy, and you turn in a roof claim. And the cost to replace that roof is $15,000. Well, some simple math there means that you need to stay with that carrier for 5 years paying the same premium of $3,000 before they would actually recover the cost of that roof. But additionally, what that is not taking into account is the siding, the decks, the windows, and your personal property that have also been damaged by a wind or hailstorm. And it's not taking into account the overhead that carriers incur, which works out to be about 40% of your premium. That goes to cover the cost of underwriters, the cost of service center, the cost of claims adjusters, the cost of actuaries. And so that works out to be 40% in cost of that $3,000 you are paying a year. So that would actually add an additional 2 years that you would need to stay with the carrier. So if you're getting your roof replaced once in 7 years, it takes carriers 7 years in order to recover those costs. So what carriers are having to do is take some actions in order to make sure that they're able to make some money. Elsewise, they would no longer write insurance in the state of Colorado. I also provided a link below, and if you Google the cost to replace a roof, it's kind of all over the place. I felt like this one was a pretty fair estimate of what you can expect for a roof to cost here based on the square footage of your home, to give you an idea. All right. I'd like to discuss the history of deductibles. Back in 2004, before the agency started, the average cost or the average market value of a home here in the state of Colorado was $200,000. And your average deductible on a home insurance policy was $1,000. There were people who had a $500 deductible, but most of those were legacy clients, meaning that they had had that policy for a long time at a $500 deductible and were grandfathered in order to keep that low of a deductible. Now let's fast forward to 2024. Now the average home value or home price here in Colorado is $600,000. So it's reasonable to expect, based on that, that you should expect to have a $3,000 deductible. And so that is what is coming down the line here for all of us. All right. I'd also like to share with you what a wind hail deductible is and what a percentage deductible is. A wind hail deductible means that if your covered home claim is due to a loss due to wind or hail, that will be a separate deductible rather than your all peril deductible, which your all peril deductible covers for all the other perils that your home is insured for. And what we're going to see is that that's going to be lower than your wind hail deductible. And I'd like to give you an example of what a percentage deductible means to you. Let's say that a home is insured for $345,000 and you have a 1% wind hail deductible. That means that the deductible, that your portion that you're going to be responsible for, is $3,450 if you need a roof replaced or you have a significant hailstorm that damages other things around the home. It's not uncommon that if you do carry an impact or concrete tile resistive roof, that your siding and your decks are still damaged, and this deductible will apply in those situations as well. Now, if your home is insured for $345,000 and you have a 2% wind hail deductible, that means that your deductible is going to be $6,900. And if you have, we'll just say a $500,000 insured home, 500,000, your wind hail deductible at a 2% wind hail is going to be $10,000. And so, what we're seeing amongst our carriers and other carriers out there, we have one carrier that is now changing their policies on all their new and renewal business to a flat 2,500 all peril deductible and 1% wind hail deductible on all new and renewal business. We also have another carrier who has decided to stop writing new business here in the state until they can get their deductibles approved by the state commissioner. We have another carrier who has been at a flat 1% deductible, and for now they are staying at that. That is for all peril and wind and hail. Then we have another carrier who has actually restricted 95% of their agents from writing home new business, and of the 5% of agency that they allow to write new business, they are requiring a 2% wind hail deductible. And then another carrier we also have still sits at $1,000 flat all peril deductible, but they have had a 5,000 wind hail deductible for some time. And we foresee that that carrier will be changing that very shortly to a percentage deductible. And lastly, but not least, we do have another carrier that is requiring a 2% wind hail deductible, new and renewal business with, and they are going to maintain their flat 1,000. Just know that in addition to this wind hail deductibles, carriers have also moved towards a roof depreciation schedule, either from the beginning of your policy or once your roof hits 10 to 15 years old. So I feel that it's important for me to educate you on what that means. What that means is, in the event that you ever turn in a hail claim, as your roof gets older, it's worth less. And so when it comes to turning in a claim, they're going to give you less amount of money. And generally that's going to happen once the roof has reached the 10-year mark. But what we did here is we included a chart of what these depreciation schedules look like. And it does change depending on the type of roof. I will share with you that most homes in Colorado have a composition roof. We are also able to obtain an article from a roofing company that you can expect that your roof depreciates by approximately 5% every year. And if you look hard at this chart, it starts out slow, about 2 to 3% depreciation. And as the roof gets that 10-year mark, it really depreciates down. So in this example, if your roof is 2 years old and you have a roof depreciation or actual cash value schedule on your policy, the carrier is only going to write you a check for 94% of what the total cost is to replace the roof. Then they're going to reduce it by the amount of deductible you owe. And if you have a roof that is over 10 years old in this example, they're going to depreciate the roof and only write you a check for 70% of what the roof costs to replace. So it's very likely that after the depreciation schedule and your wind hail deductible, you're going to be paying for over half of your roof. And so, what you can expect, what you can do, and what we predict for the future. Always, always, always look and review your renewal packet when you get it in the mail for changes to your policy. Generally, carriers are very good about including the changes to your policy at the front of the packet, and they will likely disclose to you that they're changing your policy to a roof depreciation schedule or a higher deductible. Some more bad news. I do not perceive that these deductibles will ever be brought back down again. After the last 20 years of hail, the carriers have had no choice but to limit their losses due to wind and hail. Be prepared to pay for the majority of your roof costs. You need to start saving money now because these costs are substantial. We're used to paying $1,000 or $2,500 for the deductible. It's going to double, if not triple that, here by the end of 2025. One important part I want to make note, if you ever believe you have a claim, always call the agency first. We will advise you of all the ups and downs of what could potentially happen. And additionally, if the agency learns that you or the carrier learns that you have existing damage to your roof or to your home, it's likely that the carrier is going to set your policy up for non-renewal, and you won't be able to purchase a policy through any other preferred carrier that would actually cover issues with those items. So it's important that if you ever turn in a claim, you need to move forward with it, because if the carrier knows that there's existing damage, they're going to non-renew your policy, at which point you may not be able to get coverage. I just want to hammer the point that homes with existing damage are not eligible for insurance with any preferred carriers. Now on to the good news. With this, I believe that the cost to replace a roof will come down. Generally, what we've seen in the past is when the homeowner is having to come out of pocket, the roofers are able to lower the cost versus when an insurance carrier is paying for the roof. So we look for those costs to come down. Also, some more good news. I foresee that a lot more carriers will be interested in writing business in this state. As carriers are able to make some money on insurance, that's going to bring more carriers in. So we're going to have a lot more options on to shop your policy around. And it is my belief that by September of 2025, we are going to see home insurance rates start to come back down for everybody, whether you had a claim or not. Because as the carriers are able to make money, they're able to lower their rates to compete in the market. And so with that, guys, I'd like to thank you for your attention today. I want you to know the agency always has your best interests in mind. Thank you for your continued business. And if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to the agency. We are here to answer those questions for you. Thank you so much, guys, and have a good day.